Thank you for coming to MTG Anonymous, your daily source for random free-to-play decks on MTG Arena. I would appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe whenever you get the chance. Also, feel free to watch any other content that I've produced. I'll see you in the video. Welcome to MTG Anonymous. So, last week we did Rankle Brawl. This time, we're going to do Alela Flying. Let's go ahead and get into this list. We'll switch it up a little bit. I'm going to read the commander first, then do the average CMC. So Alela, Artful Provocateur, for 1, a white, a blue, and a black. You get a 2/3 Fairy Warlock with Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink. Other creatures you control with Flying get +1/+0. And whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment spell, create a 1/1 blue Fairy creature token with Flying. Now we'll go over this. This is more of a Flying build. Average CMC is 2.7, with 22 creatures, 3 instants, 4 sorcery, 7 artifacts, 1 enchantment, 2 planeswalkers, and 24 lands. So what do we want to do with this deck? We want to get as many flyers out, get Alela out, give them +1, and just swing out at our opponents. Since most Brawl decks aren't doing much flying, well, maybe Alela is doing some flying, but most other decks aren't doing flying. So what we want to do is we want to get as much flying, give them +1, have Empyrion Eagle come out, give it +1, and then boom, now all of our creatures get +2/+0 and can swing. So let's go ahead and get into this. We've already read Alela. Let's get into the 1-drops. Fairy Godmother, for 1 white, you get a Fairy 1/1 with Flying, but she has an adventure. Gift of the Fae, for 1 and a white. Target creature gets +2/+1 and gains Flying until end of turn. Now, that's not super important. Again, it's in here because it's a 1-drop and it's a flyer. We need the 1-drops to come out early, so that way we can start swinging, chipping our opponents down early, and then boom, now we can get Alela out, deal extra damage. Hopefully they're not removing our stuff. Yeah, that works. Healer's Hawk, you know if there's a flying deck, Healer Hawk is going to be there. For 1 white, you get a 1/1 flying lifelink bird. Again, gaining life, doing what we need to do, just so we can stall till Alela and then our bigger flyers come out. Loyal Pegasus, for 1 white, you get a 2/1 Pegasus with Flying. Loyal Pegasus can't attack or block alone. Now, that's probably not going to happen. Why it's in here is it's already a 2/1. Alela comes out, it's a 3/1. Empyrion Eagle with Alela out is a 4/1. So we're going to make this as big as possible. And again, every turn, we're just going to be swinging with our flyers. Spectral Sailor, for 1 blue, you get a 1/1 Spirit Pirate with Flash and Flying. And then for 3 and a blue, draw a card. So this deck only has 2 ways to reliably draw cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that Spectral Sailor, draw cards with the 4 mana as we need, and then once Fairy Formation comes out, then we can draw mana using that because we will get the 1/1 blue Fairies creature tokens with the draw. So it's in here just until the Fairy Formation comes out, and then we're just going to use it for swinging. So Spectral Sailor will stay back until after it's not needed, and then we'll start swinging with it. Eye Collector, for 1 black, you get a 1/1 Fairy with Flying. Again, Flying is going to do what we want. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, each player puts the top card of their library into the graveyard. Well, I don't like that too much. Again, 1-drop, 1/1. We can make it a little bigger as we go. Spark Harvest, for 1 black, is an additional cost to cast this spell. Sacrifice a creature or pay 3 and the black. Destroy target creature planeswalker. Again, Oko's not in this list, so more than likely we're not going to be doing the sacrifice creature part. But early we can. Before Alela comes out, we got 1-drops, we got 2-drops. We can just throw stuff at it. Concordia Pegasus, for 1 and a white. You get a 1/3 Pegasus with Flying. Again, Flying is going to get +2/+0 if we get both of our creatures out that deal with that. So Flutterfox, for 1 and a white. As long as you control an artifact or enchantment, it has Flying. It's a Fox 2/2. Again, Flying. I'm not going to really repeat that anymore. Grateful Apparition, for 1 and a white. You get a 1/1 Spirit with Flying. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, proliferate. We got 2 planeswalkers in this deck, so the proliferate is going to help us out a lot. That's why it's in here. And again, Flying. Hushbringer, for 1 and a white. Flying lifelink, 1/2 Fairy. Creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause ability to trigger. So this kind of hurts us since some of our our artifacts are creatures. Actually, I think it's just the one. Two of our artifacts are creatures, so we want to hopefully get those out before that shows up. Three of them. So 3 are creatures. So they enter the battlefield. They wouldn't cause Alela to trigger because they're creature artifacts. So that's okay, though, because we don't want other things entering and dying to trigger. So this is for Teysa Karlov decks because I've seen a few of them. Cerulean Drake for 1 and a blue. You get a 1/1 Drake with flying, protection from red, and then sacrifice it. Counter target spell that targets you. So we'll sacrifice it in case there's something that says target creature sacrifice as a permanent. Or board wipes, basically. Fairy Vandal, 1 and a blue, 1/2 Fairy Rogue with flash flying. When you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Fairy Vandal. So we just need to get that initial +1/+1 counter, and then we can start using Grateful Apparition to proliferate. So that's what we're going to be doing. Sky Theater Strix, for 1 and a blue, you get a 1/2 bird with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Sky Theater Strix gets a +1/+0 until end of turn. So there's not really much to say. There aren't many non-creature spells in this deck, but the few that are there, hopefully Sky Theater Strix is out, so it gets the +1/+0, but if it's not, it doesn't really matter. Order of Midnight, for 1 and a black, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. This can get stuff that accidentally got milled or died, so on and so forth. And then flying, Order of Midnight can't block. It's a 2/2 human knight. Oh well, that doesn't really matter. We're not blocking much anyway, since blocking means they'll die, so we want as many creatures out. And then we have life linkers, so as long as those life linkers stay out, then we shouldn't necessarily worry about blocking. Crashing Drawbridge, for 2, it's a 0/4 wall with Defender. Tap, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. So if you have a turn where you have a whole bunch of mana, and Crashing Drawbridge has already been out, you drop all your mana rock, or not mana rocks, but your artifacts, and then tap. Now all those fairies that you made now have haste, and boom, now you can swing out. Rally of Wings, for 1 and a white, untap all creatures you control. Creatures you control with flying get +2/+2 until end of turn. All of our creatures have +2/+2 basically, so they will all get that +2/+2, and they'll untap. So we can use this for a combat trick on our opponents, so we can untap them and then kill their stuff with our small creatures, or we can just swing. They don't block because obviously we're flyers. Give them +2/+2, and then if we have 5 creatures out and Alela, now instead of just getting the +1, they get +3. Trapped in the Tower, for 1 and a white. Enchant a creature without flying. Enchant creature can't attack or block, and its abilities can't be activated. So we're going to use this on opponents' commanders. That's really it. And then, boom, we can use that. We can use Alela's triggered ability. We'll get a 1/1 from it. Stolen by the Fae, X, a blue and a blue. Return target creature with converted mana cost X to its owner's hand. You create X 1/1 blue fairy creature tokens with flying. So, it depends for this one. We can either A, return our own fairy formation to our hand, which then will make 5 1/1s. Or we can return something of our opponents, and then we're not wasting mana doing that, so it's probably better to do that. But whichever one makes you the most fairy tokens is the best choice. And then also, hopefully, Crashing Drawbridge is out, because then, boom, now you can make those blue fairies attack, and Alela will be able to give them, make them pretty big. So, Rock Charger, 2 and a white, you get a 1/3 bird with flying. Whenever it attacks, target attacking creature without flying gains flying until end of turn. Now, really, we only got, I think, one Shambling Suit. Doesn't have flying, so it'll get flying, and then boom, now it gets the +1/+0 as well. So that's why that's in here. Also, it's a 1/3, which is pretty good, seeing as it will die to less removal. Warden of Evos Isle, 2 and a blue. You get a 2/2 bird wizard with flying. Creature spells with flying cost 1 less to cast. So this makes our entire mana cost much cheaper. Now, all of our 4-drops only cost 3, our 3-drops cost 2, and our 2-drops cost 1. So get this out early, and now, boom, we can explode with mana on our turn. Empyrion Eagle, for 1, a white and a blue. 2/3 bird spirit flying. Other creatures you control with flying get +1/+1. So, make them bigger, swing. Thief of Sanity, 1 a blue and a black. You get a 2/2 Spectre with flying. When Thief of Sanity deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of that player's library, exile one of them face down, then put the rest into their graveyard. You may look at and cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast that spell. So with Thief of Sanity, we're going to either take their removal, or we're going to take a flyer. That's really what we want. We could, since it's a land, we can't cast the lands, we don't want to take those, but hopefully, like, going against black or red, we get some kind of removal, use it against our opponent, or an artifact or enchantment would also be nice, seeing as that'll go with our commander as well. Shambling Suit for 3 is a 0/3 construct. Shambling Suit's power is equal to the number of artifacts and or enchantments you control. So it includes itself in that. So at most it can be an 8/3. Not much to say. I just like it in here just for that reason, though. Winged Worlds, 2 and a blue. Sorcery, this spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a creature with flying. More than likely we will. So it's actually just 1 and a blue. Draw 2 cards. Mu Yanling, Sky Dancer for 1 a blue and a blue. You get a Yanling Planeswalker with 2 loyalty. +2 until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gets -2/-0 and loses flying. Use against our opponents. The -3, create a 4/4 bird elemental creature with flying. And then -8, you get an emblem with islands you control have tap, draw card. So what we'll do, if our opponent has flyers, we'll +2, get rid of those flyers, attack on our turn, and we'll keep doing that over and over again until we get some proliferate engines. And then once we do that, we get that to that -8. We're going to use it, and then now we can use our 7 islands to draw cards. Teferi Time Raveler for 1 a white and a blue. You get a Teferi Planeswalker with 4 loyalty. Each opponent can cast spells only anytime they could cast a sorcery. +1 until your next turn. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. And then -3, return up to 3 target artifact creatures or and return up to 1 target artifact creature or enchantment to its owner's hand. Draw a card. So almost every time I've played this card, it comes out, you use the -3 draw card. So, we can also use that to return one of our enchantments, artifacts, or creatures to our hand and draw cards. So, it works like that. It's not very good tempo-wise, but if we need it, it doesn't hurt. So, what this is in here is just to stall our opponents, give us a chance, return flyers to their hand, swing, stuff like that. Mana Geode for 3, enters the battlefield, scry 1, and then tap, add 1 mana of any color. Elite Guard Mage, 2 a white and a blue. It's a 2/3 human wizard with flying. When Elite Guard Mage enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and draw a card. Again, draw engines are what we need, seeing as there's really only 2 sustainable ways to draw cards. 3 if you include Teferi, but I don't really, so. Anvil Rot Raptor for 4. It's a 2/1 bird with flying and first strike, so the +2/+1 it'll get from our plussing will make it even stronger since it has first strike. Firemind's Vessel for 4. Enters tapped. Tap, add 2 mana of different colors. It's not great, but it's a mana rock that gives us half, so it's worth itself. Mystic Forge for 4. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact card or a colorless non-land card, and then tap, pay 1 life, exile top card of your library. So, I put this in here because I couldn't remember the black artifact. So that's in here for that reason. Once I remember it, then I'll switch it out. But basically, this can grab us those artifacts off the top of our library and we can play them. So, or we can see what's on top to decide if we need to draw or not. So that's really why it's in here. I like to be able to see the top card of my library in this deck. So that way, when we have Fairy Formation out, we know what we're drawing. Mass Manipulation for XX, and then 4 blue. Sorcery, gain control of X target creatures and or planeswalkers. Preferably, we cast this after we X's 2, so that way we can grab our opponent's commander, or we can grab their planeswalkers. That's really all it's in here for. It's just disruption. Fairy formation, we've already gone over it. For 4 and a blue, you get a 5/4 fairy with flying. And then for 3 and a blue, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying and draw a card. Dispose or deploy for 1 and Azorius hybrid. Tap target creature, draw a card. But we're going to use the deploy side. 2, a white and a blue, create 2 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. Then you gain 1 life for each creature you control. So, yep, that's what that's in here for. God Pharaoh's statue for 6. Legendary artifact spells your opponent's cast cost 2 more to cast. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life. That's in here for the loss of life, and then also it stalls our opponents out just a little bit. Yes, it doesn't come out until turn 6, maybe turn 4 at the earliest, if we get mana geoed early. Or turn 5, excuse me, because Firemind Vessel enters tapped. But at the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses a life. That's good, because that's less damage we have to do overall. But then also, spells our opponent's cast cost 2 more to cast, so it stalls them out. So next we got lands. Castle Ardenvale enters tapped unless you control the planes. We probably will. Tap, add white, or 2, a white and a white. Tap, create a 1/1 human creature token. If we need blockers and they have non-tramplers, we'll use that. Planes, there are 4 of them. Castle Vantress. Castle Vantress enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island. Tap, add blue, and then 2 blue blue. Tap, sacrifice, scry 2, excuse me. 7 islands. Castle Lothwain. Castle Lothwain enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp. Tap, add black, and then 1 a black and a black. Tap, draw a card, then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Hollowed Fountain, as it enters the battlefield, it's a shock land. You can either tap for the plains or island. Godless Shrine, it's a shock land, either the plains or swamp. Temple of Silence enters the battlefield tapped when it enters scry 1. Watery Grave, again, shock land for island or swamp. Emergent Zone, tap, add colorless or 1 and tap, sacrifice Emergent Zone. You may cast spells this turn as though they had flash. Field of the Dead, since we have so many different types of lands. Gateway Plaza enters the battlefield tap. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you pay 1. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Interplanetary Beacon, whenever you cast a planeswalker spell, you gain 1 life, and then tap for colorless. 1 and tap, add 2 mana of different colors. Spend this only to cast planeswalker spells. Karn's Bastion, tap. Well, we're going to use it out for proliferate. So 4 tap, proliferate, and then mobilize district. Tap for colorless or 4. Mobilized district becomes a 3/3 citizen creature token until end of turn. It's still a land. Oh, it has vigilance as well. And then this ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature and planeswalker you control. So, that's it. So let's look for that card now that now that I'm thinking about it. This deck has won 3 of the 4 games it played, and then the one it lost is because, well, the mana. 3 colored decks are a little bit harder to pilot on here. So, let's just type effect. There we go. Cauldron of Bolas' Citadel. So, this one's also a good one since we gain life in this deck. So, if you want to, you can replace... you can either replace God Pharaoh statue since it's a 6/6, or you could replace the Mystic Forge. Replacing the Mystic Forge is probably the best idea. So what you would do if you were to put Bolas' Citadel in is you would swing. You would get the life link from the Healer's Hawk and the Alela, and then now you use that 3 of the 4 life that you gained to then cast spells off the top of your library. So, and then the closer you get, because you have Fairy formation, you have Alela making tokens. Once you have 10 tokens, preferably, then you sacrifice 10 non-land permanents, and then each opponent loses 10 life. So that's how you would do that. And that's it. So, if you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. You could also put the Orzhov Locket and Dimir Locket. I just didn't feel like it. We kind of just stuffed this deck full. The next time you see Alela, it will be the artifact version. So, anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you. Later.